Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this card. So it's a gingerbread house pop-up card, or pop-up gingerbread house card. I originally saw this on Mixed Up Crafts channel, but I have seen others elsewhere as well. So basically you've got a nice plain front, you know, not too much going on. And then you open it up and inside you've got this lovely little pop-up house inside. So on this card I actually used, for the house sides and front, this is just one piece of card. On the next one I'm going to show you in a minute, I actually had a plain coloured base, and then I used pattern panels because I didn't have pattern card that was suitable or the right size. And then I've used this wibbly wobbly paper that I quite like, sort of like tinsel, but I thought it looked a bit like a garden path, so that's why I went for that. I've used some Do Craft dies here I've had from years ago. They were used to make little townhouse gift boxes. I'll put the link to all the papers that I've used on these in the description below. Yes, I get it's nice and simple, but because this is nice and dark, well, this is dark inside, you can't really write your message. So on this one, I've actually put space to write your message on the back. Then on this one, I've actually used non-Christmassy papers for this one. So I used the Oh So Sweet pad from Trimcraft, but I quite liked it because obviously it's a gingerbread house. So quite a few of these papers have got things like sweets or lollipops or macaroons or biscuits or whatever on. So I thought that'd be perfect to use on the little gingerbread house. So that's what I've done. So I used a lilac base for this one, and then I've just stuck panels on. So I'm going to give you the one we're doing today. I'm actually just doing it like I did with the first one. So the house base is patterned, okay, but I'll give you measurements as well if you want to do it with panels like this. And then I used like just a pale pearlized rainbow paper, again from the Oh So Sweet pad, for the inside. So that means I can then write in here, so I don't have to put a panel on the back. Okay, so that's what we've done. I've kept it nice and simple on the front. So yeah, so let's get into it. Okay, so for this card today, I'm going to be using one of the new Paper Addicts pads, and again I'll link it below. I think it's the Arctic Christmas pad. Yeah, Arctic Christmas pad. I just really love it. I love the peachy colour and the blue. It's really good. So I've cut out a couple of bits for the front. So that's going to be my front, and then I've got a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 card blank. If you don't have that, you can just cut a piece of card out that's 5 3/4 by 11.5, and then just score it in half so that it ends up being 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, so that's what you need for that. So we're going to start by sticking down our pattern pieces that are going to go inside and on the front. Okay, now if you are using dark papers inside that you can't write on, you will need an additional matte and a white piece or a plain piece for the back so you can write on it. Okay, so these pieces, so basically you will need, if you're doing it like me with the front and the inside, so the front and the two pieces inside, you need 3 matte layers that are all 5.5 by 5.5 inches. You will then need 3 pattern layers that are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. If you're doing an extra bit on the back to write on, then you will need another matte panel that is 5.5 by 5.5, and a plain white or cream or something you can write on panel that's 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 for the back. So we're going to go ahead now, stick the pattern onto the mat, and then stick the whole thing onto the front and then the insides. Okay, so once you've stuck all your pieces down, so you've stuck your front, you've done your inside. Now one thing I would say is don't go too heavy. Now I've got a bit heavy with this, so my card base and my card blank itself, I think is about a 250 GSM, I think, roughly. And then all of the paper levels I've used, so all of these bits of the pattern, the mat, they're all 200 GSM. So this is now quite thick. So when you put the two together, that's actually quite thick already. Okay, now I've made that mistake. So on the other one I used, on the oh so sweet paper, I actually made sure that my matte layers were actually paper. So this is actually like really, that lilac is very thin paper. All of the patterns are 200, but it wasn't too, I mean, it's quite bulky. That's quite bulky compared to the other one that I've made. It's quite bulky. So just keep that in mind anyway. So this is going to be another bulky one. Most of these, to be honest, will be hand delivered anyway, so it's fine. Or go to people who I don't mind spending the extra postage on. Right, now one thing that is, it's kind of a good idea and not a good idea, is to put your front decoration on now before you put your gingerbread house in. However, I think I'm going to hold off on putting the sentiment on, but I am going to stick this on just because I'm going to be using foam pads and I do want to make sure it's straight. And once you've got the bulk of a house inside, I might not be able to get that on this straight. So I'm going to stick this down now on the front. Okay, so I've done the front, so I'll just put that on for now. After we've put the house in the middle, I will then go ahead and stick that on the bottom there. But I'm going to do that right at the end. So that's that bit done. So we're going to open this up now, and then we're going to put this just to one side, okay? So we don't need that now. So now what you want to do is if you bring in you're going to need two pieces, one piece for your roof and one piece for your house, like the main house. Okay, so your main house piece, the walls and the sides, this measures 4 inches by 11 3/4. If you want, you can do 4 inches by 12 inches, because this is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, so you can get away with doing it to 12, that's fine. But if you want to use A4, then 4 inches by 11 3/4. And then your roof is going to be 4 1/4 inches wide and 5 inches tall. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the roof. So if you bring your scoreboard in, okay, so you want to make sure you're scoring along the 5-inch edge. Okay, it's very important that you check and you're on the 5-inch edge, and you're going to score halfway at 2.5 inches. Okay, and then all you do is fold that in half like that. So I've actually chosen this time a piece of pattern paper that is exactly what I want for my roof. If, like on my previous 2 pieces, you can't find one, or you want to have a bit of a border around the outside like I did with this, then your other piece, your panels, if you want pattern panels, so like this one I've got a lilac base, my roof was lilac, and then I stuck a pattern panel on top. If you want to do that, then your pattern panels need to be 4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. Okay, and you need 2 of them, one for either side. So that's that one round. So that's your roof, so you can put that to one side. Then you want to bring in your main house piece. Now, as I said, I've actually done this one to 12 inches, but you can do it to 11 3/4. It doesn't make a difference with the scoring measurements. It just means that your tab at the end, if you use a 12-inch piece, your tab will be 1/2 inch wide, and if you use 11 3/4, your tab will be 1/4 inch wide. So that's the only difference. Okay, so on this piece here, you're going to score at 3 3/4, at 4 3/4, at 5 3/4, then you're going to score at 9.5, 10.5, and 11.5. Okay, so that's where you're going to score on this. Now you probably can't see my score lines. I could have used a plain piece, but the thing is I really wanted to do it straight onto pattern paper, so then you can see what I was talking about with the house. And it also makes it easier. You don't have to bother about sticking certain things on or whatever. Then you want to turn your card round, and you're going to score. Now if you've got a right way up, so for example if I was using this side as my outside of my house, then I would want to make sure this is going to be the first score line. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that round. So this is going to be the top of my house, this is going to be the bottom of my house. Okay, So you want to score at 1/2 inch and at 3 inches. So you've got a 1/2 inch tab at the top and an inch tab at the bottom. Right, so we can get rid of the scoreboard. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of scissors, and I've actually, because I've turned it round, because of the way I've done it, I've got my little 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch tab, whatever size tab you've got, at the right hand side, and my big 3 3/4 inch panel on the left. So if you make sure that your 1/2 inch is at the top, okay, and your 1 inch is at the bottom, and basically all you're going to do, I don't want people to get confused here, but all you're going to do is where your big rectangles are. So I've got a big rectangle panel here, which is 3 3/4 inch wide. Then you've got 2 skinny 1 inch wide rectangles, and then a 3 3/4 rectangle, 2 skinny 1 inch rectangles. Okay, so these two here, you want to make sure you keep those tabs top and bottom. On the smaller ones, these skinny ones, you're going to cut these pieces out. Okay, so we're just going to do that now. And when you're doing it, you can also notch the sides of these, because these are both of your tabs. This is your bottom tab, that's your top tab. Okay, so I'm just going to go through now and I'm going to cut off what it needs to cut off, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to start from where we've got the tab. So from the tab, we're just going to cut all the way along here. And we're going to stop when we get to the start of the 3 1/4 wide thing. The reason I'm turning this round is just so I can actually get in. Okay, so please don't be confused. Just bear with, and it'll all become clear at the end. So I'm just going to trim that off, notch that out, notch that out, notch that out, and then I'm going to cut this bit off here. I'm going to turn it back round again to make sure my 1/2 inch tab is at the top, and then on this side I'm going to notch that out, notch that out, and notch that out. I'm going to cut this section off here in between, like that, and then we're going to come over here and notch that bit out, and then we're going to cut all the way down there. Right, so I'll just explain to you again what I've done here. So I've got my 1/2 inch tab at the top, my 1 inch tab at the bottom. Okay, that there is one of the large rectangles. That's a large rectangle. That's a small skinny, small skinny, small skinny, small skinny. Okay, so everywhere you have a large rectangle, you keep the tabs top and bottom, and you just notch them out. Everywhere you have a skinny triangle, you get rid of the card that's above and below it. And where your tab is at the side, you get rid of that card as well, above and below it. And then all you got to do is where your little 1/2 or 1/4 inch tab is, you're just going to notch that out as well. So we're just going to notch that out like that. Okay, so that is what you're left with. I will put a picture up on the screen now of a little homemade template that I did, little homemade drawn template, just so that you've got that for reference. You can screenshot it if you want to. Okay, so next what you want to do is we're going to put the tape on first, and then we'll fold everything. So you want to use, I would use red tape if I were you, and you're going to put them, basically this is the right side, you're going to put them on all of your tabs. You've got 5 tabs in total, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so you want to put tape on all of your tabs. Okay, so I've put red tape on all my tabs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold all of our score lines, and then we're going to add on the doors and the windows. Okay, so first of all, we're going to score all of our tabs, and all of our tabs are mounting folds. Okay, so I've folded all my tabs over. Now what we want to do is these little bits here are basically going to be concertina. So we're going to go mountain, valley, mountain, mountain, valley. You've already done the mountain there. So mountain, valley, mountain, and try and make sure when you do this that it all kind of meets up. So it all kind of, because if you've got a thinner card, like mine's 200 GSM, so it's not the thickest of cards, you might end up with it just slightly off, slightly skewed. So you just want to make sure that you've got a good, it's nice and straight. Same for this side. Okay, so you should end up with that. So now what we want to do, making sure that your half-inch tab is still at the top and your 1-inch tab is still at the bottom, you're now going to add in your doors and windows. Okay, so once you've stuck your doors and windows on, what you want to do is to turn your card over, so you're now looking at the inside of your card, fold in, so where you've got your little tab and you've got your little concertina bit, fold your concertina down, take the backing off that piece, if you've got any tape sticking over, just make sure it's back on so it's just not going to stick anything together. So stick that down like that. This bit here also needs to be concertinaed in like that, and then fold this over and stick it down, and then when you let go you should have like a little like box type thing, obviously with concertina sides. Okay, so now what we're going to do is bring our card blank back into play. So this is our card blank, there's the front, there's the inside. Now you can put your door either side, so you can have your door on this side or you can have your door on that side, whatever. I'm going to have my door facing this way, so when the person's looking at the writing they can see the door, but you can really do whichever way you want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the backing off of one of the sides. Doesn't really matter which side you want to go for. I'm going to do this side first. Bear with while I battle with it. And then I'm going to put it in so that's so obviously you can see which way up it is. There's the top. So I'm going to put it in so that the cut edge of that tab lines up with the folded edge, the crease in the middle of the card. I'm also going to make sure that the gap here and the gap here is the same. And then when I'm happy, I'm just going to pull up this side, so that's the front of my card, and I'm just going to slot that into that crease. And when I'm happy that it's nice and center, I'm going to fold the card down and stick it onto the onto that flap. So when I open it, you can see that that side is stuck down. So if I hold it up, you can see that side is just stuck down. Okay, now before we go ahead and stick this side down, we want to sort the roof out. So I'm just going to turn my card round so that it's the right way up for the house, just so I can see where my roof is at. So here's my roof. That's the inside of my roof, that's the outside of my roof. So I'm just going to open it up so I've got the inside of my roof showing, and we're going to take the backing off this section here like that. And then what I want to do is, if we take this roof piece, I'm going to put this in and I'm going to line it up so this crease at the top of the roof lines up with this edge of the mat. Okay, so I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to line it up, make sure that's nice and central, left left and right, so top and bottom. So line it up like that. When I'm happy with where it is, I'm just going to bring my house down on top and stick that down like that. Okay, so that's now stuck onto then. It looks a bit weird at the moment, so obviously you've got all this flapping here. Okay, but what we're going to do now is we're going to take the backing off the other 1/2 inch tab at the top here, and then we're just going to fold the roof down on top like that. So now you've got a roof, and then we're going to take the backing off of the tape here at the bottom, and then we're just going to close the card on top and press down. And what will happen, if you turn it back over to the front, when you open it up will pop your lovely little house. And it's just really cute. Obviously, when you're sticking your windows on, you just need to watch and just be aware of how low your roof's going to come. So I've gone up a little bit there, but actually it's not too bad. It kind of, the bottom of the roof ends up where the top of the window is, but that's fine. I don't mind that. That's not too bad. If I got any higher, that could have been a problem. But yeah, so there's your little house. And obviously this is pale enough that I can write in it. So all I need to do now is add my Merry Christmas at the top. And then your card is done. Obviously, if you're doing, if you were putting something on the back, then obviously you've got, you would have probably already stuck that down. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead now and add the Merry Christmas on the front of the card. Okay, so there's the finished card. So I'm pleased with the way this turned out. So obviously there's your little house inside. Now, as I said before, if you want to, if you're going to use a plain base for your house and your roof, like I did on this one here, and then add in pattern paper like I did here, then your panels you will need. I've already mentioned the roof one, but I'll mention it again. So the roof panel, you need 2 pieces that are 4 inches by 2 1/4 inches. So 4 inches wide by 2 1/4 tall. Then your house body, you need 2 sides that are 3 1/2 inches wide by 2 1/4 inches tall. And then you need 4 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch wide by 2 1/4 inches tall. Okay, and then that will give you enough if you want to pattern up your house. Say for example you've got some lovely papers that are maybe like a brick pattern, a brick texture, but they're either too flimsy or they're not wide enough. Then you can choose a plain base for your house, and then cut panels out and stick them on. Same with your roof. Maybe you've got a really nice paper that's like a roof tile or something and you really want to use it, but again it's not big enough, or it's paper, it's too flimsy. Then you can cut out a plain base and then just stick your panels on. Okay, so there you go. So I hope you liked the card today. I hope you'll give it a go. I just thought it was really cool, and I can see scope for other versions of this. So stay tuned. You know me, I like to do different versions of things. Stay tuned, and yeah, but if you liked today's video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and we will see you next time. Bye.